Hello everybody. Oh, mic level looks a little high. Let me just double check that really quick. Just one moment. Test. Test. Okay. Welcome everybody to Forever Conscious Research Channel. Mic level still is giving me a little feedback, so I just want to double check 1 second here. Alright, looks like we're okay. So, if you do see some, if it does get a little, you hear pops or anything, if one of you can please let me know, I'd appreciate it. So, hey, hope you're all doing well tonight. Welcome again to Forever Conscious Research Channel. Tonight we are going to dive into the heaven and hell astral realm deception tactics that are used at the time of bodily death, and how it links to the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap yet again, the belief systems and consent we give are being extorted to the max. And it's really important, even though we have gone over this before, it needs repeating because I never know who's a hell of a lot of echo shit. Hold on. Alright, it looks like there was video playing. Okay. Let's try this again. I'm going to have to edit some of that out. So, sorry, I got to do the intro again. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. Hope you're doing well today. So, tonight's topic again is the heaven and hell astral realm deception and the tactics that are used against us at the time of bodily death. This will further expose the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap and the belief systems and the consent we give based on those belief systems are extorted and carried over at the time of death. So the belief systems essentially will carry over and be your worst enemy. And I know there's a wide range of people still on the fence out there. Well, not a wide range, but there's a chunk out there that I've spoken with through email and messenger and on the phone, etc. And I think these are really important things to break down as best we can, so the people on the fence out there who are struggling with this can see it. Because the direction I'm going is to provide as much evidence as possible and stack it up. Keep stacking it over and over and over again until it's so in your face that it'll be hard to deny if you're following along with the videos that I'm doing. If one person were to randomly come here and watch these, they'd be like, oh, I see a little bit of this, I see a little bit of that, but, what I'm trying to do is really put out like a portfolio, so to say, of evidence where it will become undeniable. That's really my aim, is to get as many people to see it as possible and provide further evidence to those who already know it. Again, we're going to be touching on some topics that clearly have been discussed before, but they're essential because the conditioning and the brainwashing is the whole ball game. That really is how this system thrives, because the brainwashing here is applied your entire life, and either you figure it out, you figure out that you're being brainwashed, or you don't, and you try and fix it, and then hunt for truth, hunt for answers the best we can, like many of us here have, or you carry on over and you end up being recycled back in here. It's that simple. So, first thing, okay, I am going to, just a couple notes here that I have. So, first point is, we are born here under the veil of forgetfulness, which most of us know. Number one is, obviously, we don't know where we came from. We don't know why we are here. Well, we do now, but third is, what is the meaning of life? And 4, we have no memory of our previous existence. These questions are packaged up and given mostly through religion, and then you also have the bullshit with science. You have the bullshit, you have the bullshit with science, you have the bullshit with religion, then you have the bullshit with, what's the one I'm missing? I don't know. The bullshit. Anyways. Okay. So the second point would be childhood. Childhood into adulthood, the conditioning and deception is running 24/7, 365. Number one, as mentioned in the description, we are literally programmed from birth until about the age of 6. But this type of programming is much different. And I'm going to get into a little detail about that in the next point. So number 2 would be, below is a few paragraphs based in science from Bruce Lipton, PhD, explaining the process in modern terms. Although the article is from 2010, it has been well known in the elitist mystery schools and governments worldwide for thousands of years that mind control is extremely effective when applied to infants and young children. Your parents, not knowing any better, will pass down their programming, and of course, the schools, TV, the radio, family, friends, etc. And so what obviously is the result? The cycle continues generation after generation, and that's why the system will never change until there is a complete overhaul of society. And even then, I don't want to sound too dark, but let's call it what it is. It's designed not for that not to happen. It's not meant to be found out on a mass scale. There is, I like to call it like leakage. Like we're leakage. We're some of the on the outskirts of this matrix, and we're not going to put up with this bullshit because we see it. But the bulk of humanity is getting along just fine, doing exactly what they do. So before I go off on a tangent on that, okay, I want to get to Bruce Lipton's article, and I am going to leave a link in the description as well as pin it to the comments section after the show. I didn't add the link prior, so if you're looking now, it's not there, but it will be after the show. So I'm just again, it's only a few paragraphs, and then I'll put the entire article in there. And okay, so the most influential perceptual programming of the subconscious mind occurs from birth through age 6. During that time, the child's brain is recording all sensory experiences as well as learning complex motor programs for speech, crawling, standing, and advanced activities like running and jumping. Simultaneously, the child's sensory systems are fully engaged, downloading massive amounts of information about the world and how it works. Excuse me. By observing the behavioral patterns of people in their immediate environment, primarily parents, siblings, and relatives, children learn to distinguish acceptable and unacceptable social behaviors. It's important to realize that the perceptions acquired before the age of 6 become the fundamental subconscious programs that shape the character of an individual's life. Okay? Don't forget that. Let me just rewind that. It's important to realize that perceptions acquired before the age of 6 become the fundamental subconscious programs that shape the character of an individual's life. During this time of accelerated learning, nature facilitates the enculturation process by developmentally enhancing the subconscious mind's ability to download massive amounts of information. We know this thanks to our study of brainwaves in adults and children. And he goes on in the paper, you can read further about the brainwaves and all that stuff. When I did my Jesuit video, I had explained this and how, and then when I ran across Bruce Lipton's document, it actually talks about how the Jesuits knew this and still know this. And it's very obvious the Egyptians knew it, and the Mayans knew it, and various other cultures throughout the course of time. And we're talking about thousands of years. So yes, what we have here is a modern day interpretation of it backed up by science, the Church of Science, but it's been around well before the sciences took hold in our society and known. But it was you only would learn something like this if you were allowed to, if you grew up in the right family. Just so you know, we have a major thunder and lightning storm going on here. Sometimes we lose power, but it's that time of year where we get daily thunder and rain storms. So thunder and lightning storms. Okay, so the next point would be the belief-based systems. Okay. These belief-based systems, like Christianity, like you pick the religion. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay, you pick it. It's there. All right. If as a child you are brought up in it, you're surrounded by it. You're taking it in. Remember, till age 6, you're just downloading your perception of what you are, what you've heard, what you've been fed, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, all that stuff. So it makes sense, just like all of the other systems going on here, that the heaven and hell aspect to things would be a part of that. And one thing you will start to see if you start to look into near-death experiences, past life regressions, past life regressions that involve something like life between lives, like kind of like the series I did earlier, the 6-part series. You have people that go to a perceived heaven, a perceived hell. Oh shit, did I lose connection? Hold on. Oh, it looks like my mic's fine. I said you can't hear anything. Alright, so everything's alright, right? I'm going to keep going. So, heaven and hell, okay? They are constructs that are passed down like everything else. There's no different. But the kicker here is I mean, when you think about how sick this is, you go through life believing in this heaven construct, or if you're, I think it applies, like if you know you're a bad person. I think most people who are bad people know they are bad people. And if they grew up with the concept of hell, and they know they've done nasty things most of their life, and they're sitting on that deathbed, Matrix is going to deliver that. It's going to deliver it. You believe in heaven, you've been a good Christian your entire life, you've done your best, the Matrix is going to provide that heaven to you. It's going to be a fake heaven and a fake hell that you yourself are projecting. You yourself, inside you, your belief system is going to be presented to you by your own doing. The Matrix is going to just push that back at you. It's going to say, okay, well, we have this schmuck here. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say schmuck for the people that are still on the fence. I apologize. I don't mean that. But we have this person here who believes in these concepts. Throughout your entire life, your DNA, your soul, is recording your belief systems. It's recording every moment of every day for your whole life, from the moment you're born to the moment you die. That is very clearly 100% true, because all you have to do is look at the near-death experiences. What do they see? They experience a life review. Not everyone, but most of them, a lot of them experience the life review in 360-degree vision, and they say that there's screens of different moments in their lifetime. And they can zone in on different moments and relive that moment. Now I ask you, if you are all-knowing, like some of these, like a lot of these near-death experience people say, if you're all-knowing, how come you need the life review? How come you need that life review? Because it makes no sense. It's stupid. Because you're going to go and do the life review, but I thought you're all-knowing. I thought you can tap into everything now. I thought everything opens up. No, because what happens is by the time you've made it to the heaven, hell, it can go either way, where you might experience a heaven or hellish experience and then go into life review. It could even flip and be reversed. Okay, it could go either way. I can't say for certain what order it would be, because again, I think it's based on a number of things that's customized to you. So, the life review. If you were all-knowing and everything was great, you would be able to remember. You would not need the life review. And what happens when these people... This is what happens, okay? They go to the heaven, okay? Let's just stick with heaven, okay? You get entrance into heaven. They say, oh, you can come and you can stay as long as you want. The floodgates open. Welcome aboard. And then what starts to happen, you look at these past life memories, the life between lives, slowly they start needling you. Slowly your group starts to cave in on you. Your little bullshit guru or master is chirping in your ear. Hey, we gotta get you back down there. Gotta get you down there. So everything's great in heaven. It's wonderful. The gates are pearly. The clouds are beautiful. The roses, the flowers, everything's great. But you're not allowed to stay there forever. Even though they say you can. It is clear as day that you are not. Because the mission is simple. It's to get you back into a body as soon as possible. They give people breaks. You know, they give you a little time to go have fun and collect yourself and get re-indoctrinated in soul classes, which that's an entirely different subject. So the point is, with all of this, is that the heaven and hell aspect are created by us. It's our own fault. We are creator beings, okay? Our abilities have been squashed severely while in the body. But we do have that in our makeup from the creator or whoever created us, whatever you want to call it, okay? And our consent is the biggest problem. It's the biggest problem because, and you know, I just saw Goober Bear enter the room, and brother, I gotta just talk to you here since I see you. I love you, my friend. I've ever since we had that conversation about you wanting to do the life review, cannot stop thinking about it. So it was kind of weird that you just happened to come in right when I was talking about it. I don't know if you saw it or not, or if you heard it or not, but it was right around the time you came in. I think I saw your name mentioned. Brother, I'm telling you, this is the problem. I think that everyone needs to be really, really hyper aware of if they're even thinking for a second to take this life review. You have to understand, everything is consent based. The going forward towards with your guide, you know, Grandpappy Winston, Fido, whatever, okay? The guide or guides that are going to be there ready and waiting. Going with that guide is consent. Remember, you're in their construct consenting. You're consenting in ignorance. That's our problem. That's how we got into this mess. We consented in ignorance. We didn't read the fine print. From everything I can tell, the life review, I mean, just going towards the light, let alone, you know, the life review, okay? Going towards the light alone is an issue. Then you have the life review. Or however, they may lay it out a little differently, but it seems to point in the other way. Just our going forward, going with that entity is consent. And we are not necessarily going to know everything. And the biggest issue on top of that is that you can clearly tell in these near-death experiences, the ones that are claiming to be all-knowing are not all-knowing. They are still under the thumb of the system. So because they're under the thumb of the system, they do not have access to their true essence, their true self. It's sick. It's really, really sick. Trying to think what else to add to this. I just think, Rat, you got to be careful, my friend. I think I seriously, with every fiber of my being, I don't believe, I know at this point, I know that we have to get out immediately when we die. That is, I am so convinced and knowing of this, with everything inside of me, that you have to leave at that moment as quickly as possible. You have to shut down the illusions. Who cares about the damn tunnel? Who cares about the life review? Who cares about Grandpappy Winston and Fido? All that stuff. There cannot be one attachment. None. I'll go and say the life review is an attachment. That's what I'm just going to say it. That's what I see. And in order to get to the life review, you have to consent to something. They don't just boom, roll down the curtain and throw out the life review when you die. It comes fairly quickly. But it doesn't come until you consent and move forward. That's what I'm trying to say. So once you get to that position, you're done. You're gonna be under the veil of forgetfulness, like we are in here, basically. I think the only moment we have, and I think something inside me says, I'm not going to say that this is absolutely certain, but something inside me says that, and this may be far out there for some people to sign on to, and that's fine, but something inside me says, I picked this lifetime with something in the back of my head when I was up in the astral realm. I picked this specific moment. The timing of when I was born to where I am today, with the way the internet came out when I was in my late teens and had access to the early internet before it was censored and all this other stuff, something tells me that I specifically chose this moment, knowing something, maybe not knowing everything, but maybe waiting for that opportunistic moment. Because I seriously think once you're up there, you have to come back down here in order to leave. It only makes sense. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Right? Our memories are limited up there. I mean, I think we have access to more. There's no doubt about that. We are more of a threat up there than we are down here. But, we're actually not a threat, because clearly we're all going along for the ride. I guess it's just as bad, but I still think what I'm trying to say is that we have to incarnate and learn it here in order to exit. And the only opportune moment is at the time of bodily death. That's it. I cannot see it any other way. Anything outside of that is you've okay. They roll out the family members. They roll out Fido. Okay, they roll out the light tunnel in the distance. So the curtains fall down, and once you start consenting to that illusion, then it's all bets are off. You're under their wing again. So, sorry, I got distracted by the sound. Sorry. Yeah, so I think the illusion, once the cameras start rolling at the time of death, and you start falling for it, like we have lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. That's it. once you go forward, once you agree to go with Grandpa and Fido and Mommy and Daddy, okay? You start going along with that. That's it. It's over. It's over. And so then I'm telling you, you read some of these. I've read these and they are freaky. Okay, there's not a ton of them, but there are past life memories where they say point blank that when they went through the light, that is when they remember getting their memory taken away, and it was the most horrid experience they can ever recall. Now, again, there's not a lot of these, but there are some, and I've read them on. I've just read these are, and all these people that I've run across do not have books. They are not selling anything. You know, it's a little. I'm just going to throw it out there because it's something that you should just consider. That once maybe the light is where our memory is zapped. Okay, that's where they reset us and dumb us back down. And then what they do is they, probably reintroduce Matrix sanctioned memories, okay? They feed you memories that you are allowed to have on your previous lives. But I think the only memories they allow from this lifetime are the ones that will serve the purpose of getting you to reincarnate again. But I think once again, once you're at that point, that's it. And what happens in the movie Soul? This is, when I saw Soul, it blew my mind because of all the stuff I had read about the memory being wiped. What happens? And they say, your memory is like zapped, like a bug, or or this or that. And if you watch the movie Soul, what's happening fairly early on in the movie when Joe has his near-death experience? He's going up the staircase, running into the other souls, and they have the big white light. And as the souls are going there, Joe's going the other way, but all the souls are going towards the light. And what do you hear? You hear zzz, zzz, like a freaking bug zapper. Blew my fucking mind. Blew my mind. Again, you take it for what it's worth. But I think that, and you noticed in the movie, we don't know what the hell's going on in the great beyond. We don't know. They don't talk about it. It's implied that it exists, and it's a white light, and that's it. That's all we get. It's not expanded upon at all. And you know what else is interesting? And I'm just going to kind of throw one more thing on Soul. What else is interesting is you see the souls in that same scene, and they're all dazed out. Like, not all of them, but there's a decent number of them who are just like, and Joe's like, "What are you doing?" And the soul responds, "I don't know." Just like totally zoned out, like not even knowing what the hell is going on. What's that? It's the hypnotic. It's the okay, I know where I'm supposed to go. I am supposed to go towards the light, and that is it. I am a drone, and I am going to follow orders. I know what I'm supposed to do. Holy shit, there's a parrot out there. I wish I can get the camera out there, but anyways. Green parrot. Anyways. So, think about that. You have the link in with Joe Joe seeing other souls getting zapped by the light, Joe going the opposite direction, dying to get back, dying to literally get back to Earth. And then he's also running into other souls who are just complete drones and borderline comatose, and just not knowing what the hell they're doing. They're just going. What is that? That's the love bomb, right? That's what it is. It's you are being convinced and following something by consent. What's that? It's going towards the light. It's the consent. You are making a motion towards the light and the consent. Oh, so what's behind the light? What's behind there? Okay, maybe life review. Maybe get memory zap first, then the life review. You go into fake heaven, you go into fake hell. You pick it. Point is what you believe down here is what you're going to get. So you're going to get. They're going to hand it to you on a silver platter. Whew. All right. So I think that about covers. Well, there might be one more thing. Let me just double check here. Check some more notes and highlights I have here. Okay. Yeah, the other thing is our emotions. Our emotions and our vulnerability to love. Our soul connections that we have that are clearly displayed beyond belief in Michael Newton's book, the 6-part series that I just did. And for anyone who's new to the channel, I would suggest checking that out. I think you'll have your mind blown at what is admitted wide open by those 29 cases. It's a 6-part series. It's really long, but if you want some in-depth analysis on it, definitely take a look at that. Our love, our connection with loved ones, pets, etc., in our soul group, our so-called guides, and our so-called council of elders that are ready and waiting to send us back on down to a body. And it's like this really sick cult, okay? Earth's a cult. Well, there's cults up there too, okay? Same thing. We've all been in cults. We gotta acknowledge that. It is what it is. But no longer. No more of that. And so the cult, we talk about high pressure cult, high pressure astral cult that is ready and waiting to feed off one another. You have that emotional vulnerability of love and maybe even hate and everything in between, all in an effort for you to learn on Earth. Remember, Earth's a learning experience. You're here to learn. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's so obvious at this point. I know most of us see it. But I really hope that the ones who are new or on the fence will just keep listening a little bit. Keep looking too. Keep looking on your own. Keep looking. Never stop looking. Do your own research. Don't do biased research. Can't be just Jesus orientated or this orientated. It has if you want to do your research, you have to be open to all of it. Everything and anything. You have to be able to take it all in and use your discernment, minus bias. No bias. That's so important. Otherwise, you're just gonna be stuck in cognitive dissonance, and that's not a good place to be. It's hard to admit to ourselves that we've been hoodwinked the way we have. It's hard to admit to ourselves that we have been brainwashed, beaten and abused in every sense of the word. Not just this lifetime, but many, many lifetimes before this that we don't necessarily have access to. So, the programming that we've all received, I'm sorry, I had one person a year ago tell me that they were born awake. Maybe it's true. I don't see how it's possible. And if someone like him exists, my hat's off to you. God bless, or Creator bless, whatever. That's great. But the point is if that person truly was awake at birth and this and that, then he's one of the rarest cases of humans on Earth. So, anyways, I think there was maybe one more thing on this, and then I might check the chat. Check in on you guys. Sorry, I haven't really been able to look at the chat at all yet. Yeah, it's just, I think, the big one is, I'll just conclude that it's important to remember that the heaven and hell concepts are used against us, like I've been driving at the whole time. And that's because we were born under a veil of forgetfulness, born ignorant, not knowing who we are, where we came from, why we're here. And that veil of forgetfulness is used against us. And I'll just conclude with that. So if you're watching the replay, next thing I'm going to do, this concludes the heaven and hell deception part of it. Now I'm just going to go to the chat and have a few short interactions and say hi to everybody. So let me pop that up. All right. Let me just say a quick, I'm just going to scroll up here really quick, just like maybe a couple pages. PKSB, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. PKSB says, no wonder we get tricked, mind wiped, and the excuses are endless. Right on, exactly. Eli says, just like entering the dock in court. Yep. Simon also. Okay, Simon says, absolutely, Ms. No bugger is coercing me back here into a life of watching people suffer. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah. Just think about how many people are not as lucky as us to be able to have access to such information like we do. You know, I mean, we are extremely lucky group of people. And it's, I mean, honestly, I the comments I see from you guys, and then I get, when I'm not live, they're absolutely incredible. Most of us are like laser focused on this, and it's clear that many of us have been here for seeing this for quite some time, and it's just it's awesome to see. It's when I do these streams, I learn just as much as I hope that you guys learn off of me. And it's almost like a therapy. It really is, because it's very difficult to talk about these things. Although I am very lucky that my boo and I are on the same page with this. But I know I get a lot of solace out of being able to spend time with you guys and read all your comments and then your live chats when I'm live. So I just want to thank you. That's all, because it's a big help to my process, my journey. So thank you. I think I lost myself here. I don't know what the heck happened. I like Simon says Brian Rose looks like a greasy turd. Oh, I cannot stand that guy. Ugh. Remember that whole psyop thing he was involved with Ike? Oh my God. That thing was ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. It was so obvious that the whole Ike being kicked off YouTube and stuff like that was clearly planned, and Brian Rose kind of came in there as the savior, and there's that whole the whole scandal with getting people to his website, and I mean bait and switch stuff. I don't know if any of you were aware of that, but he did multiple donation drives to try and have an independent social media and this and that, blah blah, and he was going to own the servers and this and that, and there's some really excellent work exposing him. And anyways, I don't want to go off on a tangent about him, but yeah, he's a greasy turd. I'm with you, Simon. Okay. Abdi says the Tibetan Book of the Dead says not to go to the dull smoke-colored light from hell, to go to the white light of death. Have you guys seen this? Yes, I've read the book. Okay. Nothing. This has to be so clear. That it's up to you guys what you want to do. It's your life, it's your existence, it's however you want to handle this. I think no matter what, going between the grid, going to the white light, going to the golden light, sneaking in between, again, like sneaking in between the net, you pick it, okay? Whatever the heck it is. What is that? That's a motion. That's a forward motion. It's a consent. Okay? You have to, I think it is this simple. You go into your higher self, your true self, and you move yourself out. Okay? There is no motioning towards things. It's you going deep within yourself and boom, equivalent to teleporting yourself out of there. That's what I think it is. Okay, I'm going to get into more detail about that later on, but I just the Tibetan Book of the Dead, good stuff. But you know what? Well, I think I have it here. Let me get something really quick. One moment. I think you guys definitely should purchase this book. One sec. One sec here. Okay. All right. So, self-liberation through seeing with naked awareness. What was it? Abdi? I'm sorry if I'm messing up. Abdi. Okay. Abdi, definitely check this book out, my friend. Okay, I'm just going to read it really quickly, just the back part of it, okay? A text belonging to the same cycle of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This instruction on the method of self-liberation presents the essence Dongchen, the great perfection, regarded in Tibet as the highest and most esoteric teaching of the Buddha. Teaching the attainment of Buddhahood in a single lifetime, this text was written and concealed by Guru Padmasambhava. I'm sorry, I'm screwing that up, in the 8th century, and rediscovered 6 centuries later by Karma Lingpa. The commentary by the translator is based on the oral teachings of Namhakai Norobo Rinpoche and Lama Therchen Rinpoche. I know I'm, screwing those up, but whatever. Okay, John Midran Reynolds is a writer, teacher, translator, and scholar practitioner of Tibetan Buddhism. He was trained and ordained as a tantric yogin, and in the tradition of Nahing Mapa tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. I know I'm screwing that one up. He is taught widely in the U.S. and Europe. He is also the author of the Golden Letters. Nahamaki Norbu Rinpoche is widely acknowledged to be one of the greatest living masters of Dzogchen. He has lived in the West for many years, and he taught Dzogchen at retreats around the world. His books include The Self-Perfected State, The Crystal and the Way of the Light, and The Supreme Source. Now, I'm just going to say, don't take the whole thing at face value, but let me just try. I'm just going to find a section to you, just a few sections, or not even, just a few, sentences I'm going to read to you off of this, just to kind of give you an idea. It gives you an idea why the text was hidden, because of the liberation factor involved with it. But remember, it's all within you. That's the most important thing, my friends. It's all within you. Okay. Okay. Appearances are not erroneous in themselves, but because you're grasping at them, errors come into existence. But if you know that these thoughts only grasp at things which are mind, then they will be liberated by themselves. Everything that appears is but a manifestation of the mind. Even though the entire external and inanimate universe appears to you, it is but a manifestation of the mind. Even though all of the sentient beings of the 6 realms appear to you, they are but a manifestation of the mind. Even though the happiness of humans and the delights of the devas in heaven appear to you, they are but manifestations of the mind. Even though the sorrows of the 3 evil destinies appear to you, they are but manifestations of the mind. You get the point, right? It's telling you illusions. Illusions. That's the driving message here. Okay? Everything is up to you. It's you have to liberate yourself of your own inner you. Okay? Don't let anything or anyone or any illusion, nothing, get to you. That's my advice. That's what I'm doing. And again, I'll go into more detail when I finally get around to publishing the How to Exit the Reincarnation Trap. Just to let everyone know who signed up for the Soul Watch party. I was planning to do it this past weekend, but I was really sick early on that week before, and for about 6 days, and so that was one thing. And then started to watch Soul again and realized that there's just so much there that it's quite a big project, and it's going to take me some time to really get that thoroughly done where I would be happy with presenting it. So just hang in there another week or so. We're definitely going to have a good time watching that together. And for anyone interested who's just finding out about it and would like to watch it with us, it's going to be basically like a Soul watch party. I'm going to do commentary on the entire movie, and then afterwards we're going to have a roundtable open discussion where anyone can jump in and put their what they found in the movie out there and what they agree with, what they don't agree with, etc., all that stuff. Simon says that so email me at foreverconsciousresearch@gmail.com. That's foreverconsciousresearch@gmail.com. No channel in there. And in the title, just please put Soul Watch Party so I can decipher the difference between the emails. And I am still backed up with emails. I will get back to everyone, I promise. So just hang in there if I haven't responded back to you. For those of you that sent me an email like a while back and maybe I didn't respond, within the last month to 6 weeks, just forward it again and just say, I just hadn't heard from you. You mentioned on the show, just to forward it again, just in case there's once in a great while I'll pass through or skip an email by accident and I don't mean to. So please, it's nothing personal. I always get back to everybody. It just takes me some time. That's all. Okay, so Simon says that trucker with the cottage in the Astral realm had a good number going before Rick from Astral Club coerced him back. Absolutely, abso-freaking-lutely, bro. That guy. Rick. Oh, Rick. Yeah, he's a parasite and a half, man. What he did to that guy. I mean, that's the prime example of what we were talking about, right? With the I mean, let's just put it out there that the trucker's heaven was having a cottage by a lake in the woods in a peaceful area, okay? And he wanted solitude. He wanted to be left alone. That was his heaven. Remember, that was the trucker's version of heaven. And what happened? He got freaking tag teamed. People come and knock, astral entities, including Rick, who's in a freaking human body, astral projecting up there. And they go and they bother the hell out of this guy until he gets into a body, and his daughter is used against him, who's just so happens to still be on Earth. So sick. For anyone who hasn't seen that, check out Parasite at the Astral Club video I did, I don't know, a month or so ago, 6 weeks ago. Eli says, I'm imagining Brian Ross trying to make you do push-ups. Oh, it looks like I went up a little too far. Desert Rat says, if I didn't go insane with it, I'll let you know. I might have missed the context for that. PKO Space says, if it was true, we would see a great realm, a fair place. Yes. And if it was a fair place, they wouldn't be trying to rob you of your sovereignty and deceive you non-stop into giving your consent. That's not, no. It doesn't work that way. It does, but it doesn't work that way with us anymore. They can go pound sand. Alright, Desert Rat says, it's consent-based, but this was never presented to me. This is my idea. Okay, I guess, I'm sorry, let me scroll up a little bit, Rat. Yeah, because I did kind of say something directed at you. I don't want to miss the context of whatever you were saying. Desert Rat says, but why is there a veil placed over us? Well, the veil is clear. Well, yeah, I mean, we're tainted. We're born tainted. And let's not forget, let's not act like the body is some beacon of amazement. It's engineered for this type of manipulation. Think about the mechanisms that are in place here. You have this, you're thrown into this body, this avatar, okay? You're trapped inside of it, okay? You can leave it, but you gotta really figure out how to do that with work, or sometimes you just fly out your body anyways. But point is the brain acts as a governor to limit your access to your true self. The body in and of itself is inherently flawed. And we are easily programmable. We're in a biological meat suit. A computer. Except our consciousness, our true, we're fragmented into this. And we just kind of like, Now, if you came into this world and you weren't tainted, you'd still be in the illusion, but I think you'd have a much, much better chance of getting by and enjoying it maybe than you would under the conditions that are present now and from all accounts always have been. That's the key thing to remember, that it does not seem like there's ever been this, utopia here on Earth. I don't care what anyone says. I do not care. There is no proof. I don't see it. If someone wants, I don't think there's no one book that someone can throw my way and say that, oh, this place has always been, it hasn't always been this way, this and that. Okay, sure. Maybe it got run down, it got run over, this and that, and, maybe things were better at one point, and maybe Earth got hijacked, but I don't know. And neither do you. We just have to be honest with ourselves when we don't know. That's really, really important. But Rat, let me try to get back to seeing if I don't think I'm missing anything. The problem was I wasn't seeing what you were saying as I was talking about it. But anyways, I'll try and figure out what else you were saying. If you want to throw anything in right now, Rat, at the end of the chat, I'll scroll down really quick and then pick it up. But in the meantime, if you're doing that, I'm just going to continue on with the chat, and then I'll check in about a minute or two if you type it up. Rat says, yeah, again, it was consent-based, but this was never presented to me. This is my idea. You're talking about the life review. Just want to make sure of that. That's all. Okay, I'm just scrolling back down here. Rat says, I want to know who wrote the shop manual. Yeah. Who wrote the shop manual? We don't even get a shop manual. Okay? We don't. We don't get the manual. We get nothing. Nothing. Not a damn thing. Again, born ignorant. Born ignorant. Okay. Don't pass. Deborah says, don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Yeah. Yeah. Abdi says, the New Age 4D is another trap to get us recycled again, and the Palladians are demonic entities that consume it. Absolutely, Abdi. That the whole, I like the term new cage. It's a new cage, just like all the other religion. No different. No different. Everything's love and light. Ignore everything that bad goes on. It's just love and light. Everything's going to be great. The aliens are going to save us. No worries. Please. Oh, it's just endless. Okay, hold on. Yeah, good. Okay. So yeah, the new cage, absolutely. Junko says, at the end of the light, there will be FC saying, here's the door to skip the life review. Well, if you see me anywhere, run. I'm not going to be there. It's an illusion. So remember that. I'm not anywhere. You're not going to see me. I do wish we can all, get each other's back and help, got each other's back and do stuff like that. That'd be great, but I ain't taking that risk. Not going to happen. Simon says, absolutely calling him up for not wanting to return. I'd have slammed that Astral Cottage door in the face quicker than he could have said Sasquatch. Yes. Frickin' Rick, man. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, just think about how Rick fell for. That's all it took to get Rick down here. It was that one little bit of needling, and you think trucker, you think tough guy, being able to nothing's gonna affect him. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning in my head, right? And you have some little punk coming to your door when you're dead already. You're up there. And they're trying to get you back down to earth by guilt tripping you about your daughter. Yeah, I would exactly, Simon. I would have slammed the Astral Cottage door in the face quicker than you could say Sasquatch. I really like that one. Hey, Ms. Ellie, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well tonight. PK says, I asked Eric Dubé about it under his document Afterlife. He's wondering about it too. Let Eric Dubé do what he wants to do. I got a comment. I think it was from Matt mentioning something about Dubé too. I don't remember what the topic was, but I think it was something about past life regressions or something. I don't remember. Anyways, I don't remember, so I can't really talk further on that. So Desert Rat says this whole subject is way out there. Well, it's way out there, but it pieces together very well. But yeah, it's out there, absolutely out there. It just takes a while to really see it. It's there's like a few different layers. I'm going to do a video in the future, and I've been thinking about this for a while, just to kind of lay out the important areas that everyone should be looking in. If they're new to the subject, or if there's some areas that they're familiar with and not necessarily with others. So I think that would be a really good video to put out there, so everyone who wants to can do their own research and see it for themselves. And I think everyone should be doing that anyways. I think this group does that quite well, and everyone should always be doing their own research and never trusting what anyone says unless they are going out and checking, double checking, triple checking. And then even then, after all of that, you still need to, you move on to a different area of interest. And then it's always good to go back to the topics that you once, felt hard pressed on, and put scrutiny on them and say to yourself, okay, well, based on, what I knew 3 years ago to what I know today, how do I feel about that subject now? Like, what what can I apply that I know now to that previous topic, and am I seeing it differently? I think that's really important. We should always be scrutinizing our belief systems, and things that we quote resonate with, or this or that. Like I mentioned before, with things that resonate, you got to be really careful. I know that with this topic, for me, I had there's a whole string of things that happened that kind of flew me into this topic, and knowing, but the main thing I can say is that my stance on this has not changed for almost 4 or 5 years. It's been steadfast. I've signed on to it 100% for that long, and all I see is further confirmation. And with when I'm still kind of hovering in the same areas where I find the most value. But I didn't really, I talked about it, a couple years ago a few times, and more recently I've been talking about it, but that's because I feel it's something that I can present to people to see a little better, because I'm just more knowledgeable on the topic because I put so much time on it. Whereas 4 or 5 years ago, like I had first heard about it I think it was 7 years ago. I think with John Lear and David Icke, the Saturn Moon Matrix, Saturn Moon Matrix. That's 101. That's 101, and the John Lear video where the moon is recited. All that could very well be true. I mean, think about it. You have the white light, you have the golden light. What could it be? That could be the moon and the sun, right? I mean, so there could be truth with that. I'm not saying there isn't, but when you really boil it down to its raw form, what does it matter? What does it matter? What does it matter if it's this light, if it's that light? The point is you have to be coming at this from a sovereign perspective. That's the biggest lesson. That you're not going to give yourself to the illusion in any way, shape, or form. Not one of the illusions. You're going to deny it point blank the second it occurs. The time that okay, I'm not going to go off on that tangent again. I'm sorry. But just, okay. Abdi says, Human was an Egyptian stellar god of sense of taste and also of the divine food of which gods and mortals feed. Rat says, I choose this moment to... I'm going to crack this safe. PKOSB says, that's why we have to know these things. Unprepared, your pet will stop you, right? Yeah, exactly. Yes. Because think about it. If you're not signing on to the religious paradigms, it doesn't matter. They got you. Okay, so we're going to throw your pet at you. We're going to throw your pet at you. And you know what? Had I not gotten to this point and seen it all, I would have fallen for my pet. I'm just going to say it flat out. I know I would have. I know I would have. I'm a sucker. I've had dogs my entire life. Okay. Junko says, for sure, I'd say telepathy is real. Absolutely. Ms. Ellie says, no, my pet will not stop me. I'm prepared for that. I have been preparing for that in lucid dreams. That's great, Miss Ellie. I've put that forward too. It doesn't matter what it is at this point. Nothing is going to get in my way. Nothing. I don't care what it is. I'm going to shut it down instantly. I am very confident of that, and you all of you should get to that point too. It's a very liberating feeling to get there, where okay, you can still enjoy the moments you have here with your friends, your family, your loved ones, your pets. You can enjoy nature. You can get out and have a good time and enjoy life, listen to music, watch movies, whatever, you go hiking, whatever you're going to do. But just know that when the time comes, you need to just be prepared to shut it down instantly. And that's it. That's it. Remember, it's an illusion. It's not even freaking real. That's the best thing you can take away from all this. That it's a freaking illusion. And that's sick. They're using illusion. And remember, if you're with your family, you're with your pets, you're embedded in your religion, they're just going to take that download from you and from your DNA, from your makeup, which remember is being recorded 24/7, 365 from cradle to grave. They have the movies ready, waiting to be played. They have the loved ones ready to be rolled out on the red carpet for when you die. And yeah, and you're going to be, that's what they're going to do. They're going to use those against you. So just remember, they're illusions. They're projecting it back at us and making us feel it's real, making us feel the love, making us feel the connection. That's what they're doing. And there's, clearly some sort of sophisticated freaking technology involved with all this too. And, I don't really have a right to speak any further on that, but clearly there's some form of sophisticated technology or creation that we ourselves were likely involved with at some point, or, contributed in some way. I seriously think that, and take this with a grain of salt. I shouldn't say I seriously think. I hypothesize that, like artists, when artists draw and they say, oh, I found my inspiration here, or, I connected on a deep level with, this waterway and a bridge, and I decided to draw it. Or I thought of, this hyperdimensional, cube and in the clouds with this and that and blah blah, and it's got, all these beings in it or whatever. Think of some far out there drawing. I think that is the person's way of obviously creating. That we know that, right? They're creating based on inspiration. Whether it's organic or not, that's another story, but they are creating. And that move in and of itself can actually, in my opinion, be created out in the astral and utilized either for that person against them or others to create a new type of realm almost. I know that sounds out there. I know that sounds really out there. But if we're creator beings and the ones running the show likely lack the ability to create and rely on us to do this as a collective and as individuals, it wouldn't shock me that that I can go and draw something that I'm imagining in the sky, not necessarily, maybe part of it's there, part of it's not, I'm closing my eyes and I'm thinking about this and that, this shape, and all of a sudden I'm creating some, an astral cloud house in the sky or something, and that thing can maybe become actually real in the astral realm. Because when you think about everything and how it's projected back to us with all these other things, it would make sense that worlds and things can be created out there in the astral as well. All right, so yeah, I don't want to keep going off on that, but I know it's kind of weird to put that out there, but I hope you kind of grasp what I'm saying. Doesn't mean I'm right, but it just kind of goes along with what I my inner me is telling me. My inner self is telling me. Simon says, the soul in the life review queue before Goober is going to be like, kick his ass, Seabass. I reckon he will give them a damn good run for their money, pal. Oh, man, that's a great line, man. What was that from? It's so funny because that's Roger Clemens from the Red Sox in, was it Dumb and Dumber, right? Yeah, I think it was Dumb and Dumber. Joe M. says, as above, so below. I finally think I understand that concept. We are as controlled and manipulated here as we are in the astral after death until one learns what's happening. Yes. Yep. That's my thought exactly. I don't know when you came in, Joe M., but my suggestion is that once you're in the astral realms, you literally have to come back down here in a body and figure it out while you're here in order to get out. That's how thin the exit is. That's my opinion. Otherwise, I really don't think I'd be here. I just don't. I just cannot see, and this everyone here. I just don't see us being here if we were easily able to escape this bullshit in the astral realm as all-knowing beings like some of these near-death experiencers claim. So yeah, no, that's Joe M. I'm with you. Simon says, okay, no, that's talking to somebody else. Talking to Eli. Eli, by the way, hello, brother. I don't know if I said hello already, but hope you're well. Deseret says, Fed Memories is taking place right now. It's the rerun Deja Vu. Yeah. The Fed. Abdi says, the day you were born, you were sentenced to death while also being introduced into a hierarchical system called, quote, the family. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. Okay. Eli says, zap him back. Yeah, yeah. Abdi says, Disney tells the truth in way too many movies, but it's hard to watch sometimes as my subconscious is getting programmed heavily. Yeah, no, they really do a good job at showing you the truth and also working on that indoctrination programming aspect for sure. I'm with you. Abdi says, every time I watch a Disney film I have a horrible day and next day. Oh. BB, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well out there. She says, you die, then you wake up. Ms. Ellie says, yes, yes, yes. Simon says, yeah, that Bug's Life line of, quote, don't go into the light, end quote, makes me laugh. Ms. Ellie says, guardrails keep most in. Junko says, Disney is satanic. Love makes blind. Yep. Simon says, we should all gang up on Jerry. Fuck up his... Abdi says, interesting they call a guy who pulls girls a chick magnet. Laugh out loud. Even the light trap wants you. Yeah, that's a good one. BB says heaven and hell are heaven and hell are man-made fair concepts. Man-made fair concepts indeed, which carry over into the astral realm and become propaganda tools up there, just as, so below as above. Simon says, imagine if the sun was just a projector and the stars merely stage lights for this whole charade. Simon, I think it's pretty much that. That's kind of where I'm at. I think that pretty much, as Junko says, Simon, the projector is made in China. Yes. China. Okay. Simon says, right on, BB, concepts to align. Moral compass. Yep. Abdi says, let's see. Forever, have you seen the clip where a government official in a government meeting saying that he was in contact and agreements with out-of-world forces? I've been looking for that clip for weeks. Yes. I think, don't quote me on this one, I think that one is of... Okay, you're going to have to look him up, but I'll give you a rough outline of who I think it is. I just don't remember his name. Okay, when Putin had to step down because the Constitution in Russia, had, I don't know what it was, three or four term limit or something, he called in the guy who said that, okay? And that was filmed by a Russian reporter off the side of a set, off the side of a news set. And, so whoever took over as Prime Minister of Russia when Putin had to step down for, I think, 4 years or something, that's who said that. I'm almost positive. So if you can look up his name, I think he even talks about I think he might even talk about the Men in Black or something, and everyone laughs at that clip because they think they're talking about the movie, but he was actually referring to a Russian documentary, which was something like Men in Black, and I think it had even come out long before the movie. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive that's who you're talking about. So if you can figure out his name, you'll be able to probably hunt down the clip. Remember, if you're looking for stuff, definitely use DuckDuckGo. The best thing to do is go to DuckDuckGo, and if you're looking for something like, excuse me, you type in whatever that guy's name is, whoever the prime minister was, and then you would go to the video tab. You're going to get a much better result there, because even though DuckDuck does have an algorithm, it is night and day the results you'll get under DuckDuck's video search or image search versus Google. So I highly suggest everyone not even think twice about ever using Google as a search engine again, because DuckDuck is the way to go, especially if you want, non-algorithm results as much as possible. But I will say DuckDuck in the last 15-18 months is starting to show signs of clearly trying to direct you in some sort of algorithm. It's just algorithm light, okay? Going to continue with the chat. I just wanted to say that I am going to be doing exclusive live streams over on Odyssey. So anyone interested in joining me on Odyssey, I'm sorry, the mic keeps dropping on me here. Let me just mute the mic really quick. I apologize. I don't want it to be banging in your face. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so, hello again. All right, so yeah, I think I was talking about use DuckDuck as a search engine. I highly recommend it, especially for video. PKOSB says, by the way, hello, if I didn't say hello already, I think I did. That's probably why they allow these ghost shows to scare everyone, make us think going to light is good. Oh, the amount of light propaganda, love and light, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, all this stuff is perpetrated for obvious reasons, and that's to get people conditioned and accustomed to that experience, to that knowing, that inner knowing, that programming for when the time comes at death. No doubt. Abdi says, the guy wasn't even joking, it was very serious. Yeah, I know I know what you're talking about. That clip is really interesting. Abdi says, Ann says, the deception and bondage we have been forced to live in is so obvious to me. Yep, me too, sister. Me too. BB says, is Bear here? Yeah. Bear is, Goober Bear is here. He's also Desert Rat 45, just so you know. Sometimes he goes back and forth between accounts depending on what he's using. Jonko says, never stop questioning. Absolutely. Never stop questioning. PK says, love has been weaponized. Yep. Eli agrees with Ann about the deception and bondage we have been forced to live in is obvious. And so does Simon. Goober Bear says there... Oh, what the heck just happened? I just lost the whole chat. I'm trying to scroll up here a little bit. Okay. Okay. Alright, wow, I missed quite a bit. So, I'm just going to kind of pick up wherever I am here. I don't want to cause too much dead air, but... PKOSB says, the hijacking part makes me wonder... But it could be another way to manipulate us. Yeah, the way this is my opinion on the whole thing. Who cares, right? What does it matter? It may have been hijacked. It may not have been. At this point, it makes no difference. We're here now. We know what the hell is going on. We know it's been going on for a hell of a long time. And there's no proof of it. There's no proof of anything but that. But as Goober Bear / Desert Rat 45 and I have spoke about privately, and this has to be thrown on the table for nature lovers out there. It has to be on the table that there are many healing aspects to nature which are just nothing short of incredible. Okay? Now I've shared this a few times. Like, I have chronic Lyme disease, and some of the best advancements I have made to helping my health condition is through nature. Okay? And I owe so much of that improvement to nature. And I'm extremely thankful for that. Now, nature also has the other side of it too, obviously, where it's working against us. And it's in some areas where people live, it's working against you way more often than other areas, okay? But that doesn't mean that it's designated to be, so horrible, okay? There are texts I have read that are pretty old, and just take this with a grain of salt, because I'm not going to say either way whether it's true or it's not. There are texts I've read where they talk about where, there were times when weather didn't necessarily exist, or extreme weather, okay? So if you don't have extreme weather, you would think that maybe it's a little easier to get along here. Maybe there was a time where Earth was, in an agreeable temperature in correlation with the human body. It's hard to imagine. I'm not going to lie. It's very hard to imagine. You have to put a lot out there to not really throw, to not put doubt. Okay, there has to be a lot of doubt there, because everything else goes against the case of just the whole place being constructed this way on purpose, including the body. Now, the body our bodies as a species have clearly been tampered with for a very long time, okay? And it seems that the percentage of which that tampering has been placed on us is up for debate. But no doubt we've been tampered with. Just think about it. We go outside. We're susceptible to hot and cold. We can adjusting is not as especially depending on where you live. Adjusting to temperatures is not that we're very fragile beings, whereas most of the other creatures that live here on Earth alongside us around the world adapt to their environment no problem. But humanity, there's a big issue there. Why is that? So yeah, I don't want to go too much deeper on this, but the whole hijacking part, going back to PKSB, saying the hijacking part makes me wonder, but it could be another way to manipulate us. Yeah, the one thing we just got to keep remembering is that it doesn't matter. It makes no difference. Yeah, who cares? It's interesting to think about, and that's about it. But yeah, it's great point, PK. Abdi says, you really need to check out the movies Monsters, Inc., The Maze Runner, Cube Trilogy 1, 2, and 0, Escape Room 2019, Fantasy Island 2020. All great movies. Okay, I've seen some of those, but I'm going to copy that down because there are some in there I haven't seen, so thank you, Abdi. BB says, Bear, I can't watch your videos. Why? Okay, that's all right. Goober says, I don't know. Articulated random intelligence. Most important, we arrive alone, we depart alone. The problem here, we have the World Wide Web teaching everyone to need, quote, community. No one wants to be alone. They dread it. Yep, that's a good point. Even though they've been isolating the hell out of people. But yes, nobody wants to be alone. Okay. Well, Some people are content with it too. I like keeping as much distance from people as possible, but that's just me. Let's see. Oh yeah, Abdi says movie Dark Truth is Dark City is full of truth. Yeah, I still haven't seen that one yet, but I am going to put that one down. It's in my queue to watch, but thanks for reminding me on that one. He says the Dark City movie from 1990 exposes the parasites. Okay. Junko says most people indeed cannot be alone. Yep. BB says beer makes me prove my age. Yeah, those are because BB. That's because he puts the adult tag under it so he doesn't get zapped. I think you may have to verify your BB. You may have to verify your age on YouTube. Just put in a fake birth date. Don't give him anything. Simon says, articulate it. It's a difficult one as the pursuit of truth can be solitary path. I wish I could be people socializing, but I prefer the quiet life. Yeah, Simon, I hear that, brother. I hear that. Abdi says you guys should check out Katy Perry's song E.T. The lyrics, it's about an alien abduction, talks about the white light that takes her in. Laugh out loud. Okay. That's an interesting one. Now that I think about it, I might have seen that. I think someone else might have told me about that, but thanks again for the suggestion. I wrote that down. Articulate says, I avoid people too. Simon says, I'm not a miserable git. People just give off vibes that either draw me to them or directs me away from them. Yeah, exactly. Simon, basically the way I handle myself with people is very cut and dry. It's like either if I can't really have a conversation with you about deeper things and get stimulated off of a conversation, and then I feel like why am I going to waste my time? Why the hell would I continue to be in a drone what's the word I'm looking for? A drone echo chamber. That's what I'm looking for. Drone echo chamber. Why? They're all out there. Who cares? Okay, yeah. Oh my God, Trump said this. Oh my God, Biden did that. Who cares? Yeah, no one cares. At least this group of people doesn't care. Joe M says, part of the program in Jonko, they want sheep in flocks, easier to control. We're conditioned, brainwashed to believe loners are weirdos. It's when one is alone they evolve. Yes. Yep. Indeed. Lone Traveler. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. BB, go to your... Okay. Oh, Goober Bear, you want me to open the phone line? Alright, hold on. I'll open the phone line. Anyone else wants to call in too? Just let me pop this up real quick. Okay, just give me a minute here to get this set up. Why isn't this working? This one, got it? There we go. Alright, how about this? I'm going to open the phone line. Can you guys just bear with me? I'm going to put the countdown, the break clock up for, it's usually like 5.5 minutes, but I'm probably only going to take about 3. So if you guys don't mind hanging on, you can give me a call once we get back, and then I'll patch you in. Anyone who wants to call in, you're more than welcome. That phone number is up on the top left. Goober Bear, Rat, if you're listening, you can call in soon as I come back after the break. Just give me a call, and then anyone else wants to call in after that, feel free. I do have to take the calls one by one until I figure out how to merge everybody in case we want to do group conversations. But there's also a thing I'm working on the side with Zoom, where we can have these group conversations and link them right into the channel, which is going to be really fun. And that'll be coming up in a very near video. That's going to be linked to the astral projection group that Night Sky and I are almost finished working on, and that will be announced very soon. So just hang in there for a few minutes. Let me just take a quick break and fill my water, and we'll be right back. If I can find the screen. Oh yeah, it's over here. There we go. Okay. Okay, I think the line is open.
Okay.
Oh. Alright, got a little feedback there. Sorry about that. Alright, let me just pop this up. Okay, yeah, anyone who wants to call in, or Goober Bear, if you want to call in, feel free. Number's top left of the screen. I'll wait for him to call, and we'll take him first, and then anyone who wants to call in afterwards, feel free. If you have me added on Skype, you can also call me directly on Skype. That's no problem as well. So, if you want to have a conversation on the channel for a little bit longer, I'll probably go another half hour, and then I got to wrap it up. I'm going to be packing for a vacation, a short vacation. So, okay. So again, the phone number is 979-272-4111. That's 979-272-4111. At the top of the left of your screen. If some of you have me added on Skype, you can, call me directly by calling my username on there. Okay, I'm just going to go through the chat until we get a call, so I'm going to keep going. Yeah, BB, I really enjoyed what you shared with us on the last stream. I also enjoyed Night Sky's call and Goober Bear / Desert Rat 45. Okay, Simon says, takes me a while to feel comfortable around people. Funny though, those I click with, it comes instantly as if I've known them before. Yeah, yep, I'm with you. SK says duality. Yeah, Abdi's spot on this one. He says the movie Monsters Inc. is about monsters using laughter and fear to harvest energy from us to power their city. Yep. Boom. SK says, well presented, FC. Thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. Articulated Random Intelligence says, Simon, there is power in being alone. Sad how people cling to others. Social media trains people to worship others. Oh yeah, social media, and long before social media, the whole the worshiping aspect of humanity is sick. I mean, that's such an inherent flaw that we have. The worship aspect that's like embedded into us. It's a big problem, and the whole desire for someone else to lead and control us, kingship and queens and yada yada yada. So I just wanted to add again that anyone, I know I push this out on the channel, and excuse me, and the reason I do it is just in case something should ever happen here. I do have 2 backup channels, Forever Conscious Research Channel 2 and 3. And you can find those in the description tab as well as the About tab. But I'm also trying to put out that I have this new video streaming channel over on Odyssey, and I will be doing exclusive live streams over there. At some point it'll probably be fairly regularly, on a fairly regular basis. So if you'd like to join me over there, please use that link I just posted in the chat, and it's also, I think, pinned from earlier, if the pin is still up for you guys. And you'll get a few library crypto coins with it. And what it also does is it helps promote my channel over on their service. Doesn't cost anything. All you gotta do is sign up, and anyone who is a content creator can also join. And it's great. You can transfer your whole YouTube library right over there with a couple clicks. So there's a lot of great things going on over there. Right now, there is an issue where it may be threatened because of the whole crap going on with crypto, where there could be regulation down the road. But for now, it's fine. It's working great, and you can say whatever the hell you want over there. So that's why eventually I'll be doing more streams over there, where I can really speak my mind. I just try to go to the edge whenever I can here. That's all. But I'm pretty aware of what that edge is. Simon says, absolutely, I'm comfortable in my own company. I'm complicated enough. Think we all get lonely, but I'm not throwing myself at people or a relation for the sake of posting shit on Facebook. Yes. Well said, brother. PK says, once you know, you know. I want to know, not just believe or guess. Yes, exactly. You have to know. And this is a topic, I promise anyone on the fence, this is a topic, if you put in the effort, you put in the time on your own, you'll know. There's a again, once you know, and there's no turning back from it, and it's so in your face, and it's like, the red light's going off, the confetti flying all over the air. Okay, I got the call coming in. You just know, you know? Hello, welcome to Forever Conscious Research Channel. How you doing today? Yeah, all right. Okay, hold on. Let me just put this in here. I want to make sure I got you. All right, I just want to say a quick hello. Just want to do a level test.
Do what? All right, I'll try and keep my finger off the microphone this time. Oh, so this is a story that goes back to like when I was about 15 years old, and this is like a shadow person thing. I can hear myself in your background. That's what I was doing on my end. That's what I was doing to myself on my end the last time I called into you. And I was really screwing with my own head, and I had to turn everything off. So this is the weird part, right? Because you always hear it's like you check out what is it, dead files and shadow people and the whole nightmarish thing, right? And this was interesting because when I first noticed them, I wasn't even afraid. It was just one of those, what in the hell is that? And then they would keep stepping up the game. And there'd be nights I'd be staying up late at night, and I would literally see think about flames. You know how flames are always looking off of the wood as they go up in the air, right? Try to imagine the same imagery, but no light. It's all just darkness. It's all black. But it's like a flame licking across the floor. And as I'm looking at it, it starts to withdraw back into the other room, right? Now, into the other room. Okay, I'd be in one room, and I'd see this come out from another room, right? So it's being backlit by the ceiling lamp, but I'm also seeing like this darkness, if you will. And at first it started out as a weird curiosity, but then it would start to up the game, where it would go out of the way to entice and spark fear. And then I started realizing that, wait a minute, when this first started, I wasn't even afraid of these things, but the more I become afraid of them, the more active they get, right? So that's when I realized quickly they're feeding off of the fear that they're enticing in me. And the night I realized that, that they're feeding off of my fear. It's like something in my own psyche changed. And once that switch in my own mind just turned off and went the other direction, the fear was gone. Once the fear was gone, I've never had a shadow person incident ever again. But here's, yeah, let me, and this is what I noticed about these so-called shadow people. The last time I ever saw one was also that night that realization hit. And I literally watched this thing disappear in front of me, but it was literally as though it had stepped between the pages of the book. That's the only way I can explain it, because that's exactly what it looked like in my mind. And in my own mind, I started to, rationalize these entities. I mean, the only thing they can feed off of, at least the ones that were antagonizing me, was fear. But I started to realize in my own psyche, explaining it to myself in my own way, is that they're basically no different than lint between the pages of a book. And in my own mentality, oh, we do. But that was also my first stepping point to the concept of dimensional reality. I was about 15 years old. And that's what I mean. It's when I look back in my life, I've been experiencing these things my entire life. It's just and that's the whole thing I've noticed about a lot of people is, it's some people they'll say they had a moment that shocked them awake or whatever, right? And also they're like super psychics or some weird thing like that. But if you actually, if you can get a couple of these people aside, the real ones, and start talking to them, you'll find out, and they'll find out at the same time, just going through conversation, that they've actually been having these experiences as far back as they can remember. It's just that they got to a point in this reality that they were no longer shelving it. That's pretty much it, and like everything else, it's always going back to the words, trying to find the right words to describe it to somebody that has no basis for comparison. That's always the most difficult part. So, okay, hit me with your shadow, man.
Oh, they can't hear me. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I got it. Oh my God. All right, I'm sorry. All right, I thought the mic was being picked up through Skype on my end, but I have to have it activated in the software. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me now? I hope. Anyways, to rewind what I was telling Rat. When I was doing CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocols, okay, it's a way to summon in UFOs, orbs, blah blah blah, entities. Okay, you at the time you don't, I didn't really realize the whole thing I was getting involved with, but it was almost always a positive experience, because what I would do is put the positive experience out there. Like, okay, I'm sending out love, I'm sending out positivity, this and that, for a good experience with whatever the hell is out there. Okay? Yeah. So I was having many, many positive experiences. Hadn't had a negative one yet. And this one day, I go down to the beach, I bring my tripod, bring my camera, set it up, and what I would always do is say to pronounce it to the universe or what have you. I would say, okay, is it okay that I film this experience? Do you want to interact with me today? Yada yada yada. Almost like a asking permission type thing. Okay, well, as soon as I said that, I got, it's again, these are the types of things like we were talking about earlier, where you can't even necessarily put them into words, but it was an overwhelming wave of negativity and just flat out just scary, okay? And it was almost something was telling me, get the hell out of there. Pack up your shit and get out. You're not welcome. You know. And that's how I perceived it, and that's what I did. Okay? But, you know, that's the crux of what happened. And so that's obviously what I did. I left. I said, okay, today is not the day. I'm not messing around, blah, blah, blah. I'm out of here. Okay. Then I would say it was, you know, I had a few good experiences in between there. Then I would go to this spot by the ocean. It was a granite pair, and, you know, we've talked about before about how granite seems to be this conductor for experiences. And there was a granite pair that you can walk onto that would basically go into the ocean. And I would bring my folding chair with me and my tripod and this and that. And there's even a couple live streams that I did of that from a couple years back. And it's very weird, but I had many positive experiences during this specific session. But later on, I was under, and honest, I don't even know if I have the video public anymore. I might have. I remember I made it public, and then I privated it, and then I might have made it public again and privated it again, because if you watch the video and you hear me, I sound like I am so out of it and not even really knowing what the hell is going on. And it's not like I was, you know, it's not like I was drunk or high or anything like that. It was just a very odd experience, and I felt like you know, and I had filmed that night so many weird things, and those videos are under my USO orb playlist, and you'll see there's a lot of weird stuff I had filmed during that night, and I was just under some sort of almost like a hypnotic induction, I guess is the best way. I mean, I don't even know how to word it, but it was very strange. And you know, and I eventually got out of there because I had almost passed out in a way, or just was totally out of it. And then I came to it. I was completely lucid at that point when I came to it. And then I was like, whoa, I'd lost like over an hour of time, and I was live streaming part of this at the same time. And you know, it's hard to put this stuff into words, but that's what happened. That's the best way I can describe it. Now, what's even weirder is, you know, I haven't had any negative experiences since then at all, because, like, you know, I've been more resolved in you know, my assertion of who I am, what I am, that, you know, I'm in control. You know, we're in control here. But something really weird about, well, I think it was last week. Everyone in the house was asleep, and I was up late. I was doing, I don't know, some editing or something like that. I don't remember what I was doing. Anyways, I go to the bathroom, and I open the door, and I hear like footsteps. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, someone going to the other bathroom. Someone's going to the other bathroom. But I peek out the bathroom and look to my right, and I see this black frilly type robe, and it sounded like they were walking on the kitchen tile, running away. And then that was it, and I didn't see anything else besides the remnants of a robe, black frilly robe, like whisking away, and the footsteps, and then that was it. But it was just so strange, because I went in the bedroom, I was like, oh, is everyone asleep, blah blah, and everyone was asleep. It was just me that was awake. So that's it. It was just very strange. So, but I haven't I mean, it wasn't negative or anything. It was just weird. It's always just weird. But between the time of what happened last week and the two experiences I just explained to you, that was years ago. So I mean, I wouldn't even classify what happened last week as negative or evil or anything, but I would just say that it was just an odd experience, and it was a little freaky. I'm not gonna lie. But prior to that, it's been years since I've had anything like that. So I don't know. I just thought I'd share that. That's what happened. That's all.
You probably didn't spike enough charge for him.
Nah.
You know,
something.
Just enough to get a heart flutter going on. After that, it was like really, roads guys, really. Yeah. That's the other thing I don't understand. It's like, why is it always robes?
Yeah, I know. It's always robes.
It's always that Grim Reaper crap.
Yeah. You know, I mean, even in the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It makes me wonder if you did any like past life regression.
Well, I did.
And if you'd come up with like a few medieval past lives to explain the robes, you know.
Well, I mean, even if you look at the past life regressions and the near-death experience, the robes pop up all the time. It's not always necessarily Grim Reaper-ish robes, but the robes are just so prevalent. It's just constant. So.
Well, that's the other thing, though, when it goes back to memory, because I'm thinking they've got to be peeling a part of our memories apart from us.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, something deep inside of us that we're going to recognize and might be afraid of from another time that we don't understand right now, which would also add to the fear because there's no connection there. You know what I mean? Whereas if you just sat back and said, I remember that dick. Yeah, that was that time 500 years ago here on Earth. Yeah, no, you don't scare me anymore. You know, and then it's like, boom, the energy's gone out of it.
It could definitely link back to something like that.
Yeah, well,
wouldn't surprise me.
It just makes more sense that way.
Well, if they would use something that would have frightened you in a past life in this life, it carries over. Remember, they give us selective memory, whether it's conscious or subconscious, doesn't matter. It's implemented based on whatever they have deemed worthy of us experiencing and limited us to. And obviously, going with the fear-based programming seems to be the go-to move. Even if it's just creepy, not even fair, but just creepy.
Well, we went up to the lake, and it's just it's like 3 miles from the trailhead, So we're up there at the lake, and I totally forgot about the whole charge to water thing, right? And I'm not kidding. I will just come right out and say it. The water itself reminded me. Are you going to ask? I was like, ooh. So I got off the water, got down the water.
Wow.
Yeah, I put my hand in the water and just mentally charged the water. So, and suddenly, before I even left, I get a memory of a time when I was a little kid, this lifetime, a little kid up there with my uncle, my dad, my cousins, who were up there trying to do some early springtime fishing, but the lake was still froze. And I was like, I totally forgot all about that. Now, here's another one that happened this morning when I woke up. This one here goes back to another lifetime. That's what I mean. When you're part of the normies, none of this makes any sense. So there's no point in listening. No. So, but anyways, this goes back to another lifetime. Bavaria, Harris Mansons, things like that, the Rothar range and all of that. That memory already sparked in me when I was probably about 17 years old. But what came to me with this one here, now my voice is drowning. What came to me with this one here is now all of a sudden I'm seeing this old man. And I knew exactly who it was. It wasn't me, but I knew exactly who this old man was. And he reaches down into the water, right? And he's holding the water in both hands. He's made a cup with his hands. He's holding the water with both hands. And of course, he's speaking words into the water. And he takes a deep breath and he just blows into the water that's held in his hands. And he blows hard enough to blow droplets out of his hands. Wow. Now, when I got reminded of that, I understood exactly what it was. Because now it's like you're atomized in the water. It's becoming aerosolized, right? So now it's intermingling with with the humidity in the air. So now you're charging the air around you, and so on. So that's what I mean. A lot of these things that I think we come back in for seeking, I think we know them instinctually, regardless of a memory life. I think we know them instinctually when we're little kids. And just like, and you already know this anyways, just like everybody else, you get the adult world telling you, get your head out of your clouds, stop daydreaming, come back, things like that. But I think that a lot of people, what their purpose is, if you look back into your childhood, you'll find it. You'll see it in the earliest, most innocent years of your childhood. And if you go back to that, because this whole world itself is nothing but a fishnet.
Yeah, no, it all roots back to the programming from every angle possible. So it's unavoidable. It's you like I had mentioned earlier about that one guy who had commented and said, I was born awake, and this that. I'm thinking in my head, I just can't believe you. I mean, but it doesn't even matter, even if it's true. He's a rare case. I mean, there may be people like him, but the bulk of humanity is not given that luxury.
I think we're born with a vague intent, and I think it's very few of us that try to remember it or somehow stumble back onto it. But being born awake, I don't know, man. I mean, unless it's like with me, it's coming up with this whole scheme of I've got nothing to lose. I might as well try it. Go up there and charge the water. You'll remember me when I come back and remind me of who I am and who I have been. Because if we're doomed to keep walking this rock, then we might as well get back from our ancient ancestors what's been murdered from us. Because part of the line of the old shamans was, and they understood this, they knew this, that every time you come back, it's like I keep saying, Earth knows you, Earth remembers you. It doesn't matter the body you're in. Earth remembers you. And even the old shamans knew that these past life memories and all that, and that energy, it just lines right back up with you. And they knew how to deal with it. They completely understood how to deal with it. And every culture around the world, except for 3 today, right? The woman herself, she could be the healer, she could be the holy man or the holy woman. She could have the power, right? But you've got 3 religions on this planet today, maybe 4. I haven't looked into other ones, but the 3 main ones that have been causing havoc for the last 2,000 years. She's not allowed to do anything. So they're absolutely terrified of that power.
Yeah, well, I mean, the power, once we take things into our own hands, they don't have any power. And that's why they come at us with a multifaceted attack, because they know they have to in order to keep the scam going.
Exactly. See, and that's the other thing that I just, in so many ways, I hate secrets. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have a right to keep your own life private. The type of secrets, I mean, it's like, I still don't even remember what YouTube channel it was. It was another freak show that the stuff we're into. And this lady that was out at Skinwalker Ranch, and she was under non-disclosure agreements. So she couldn't talk about any experiences at the ranch. But the one thing she stated was, and I've said this before, I think the last time we talked on the show, I said this before, but the one thing that seemed to shut down all activity at Skinwalker was literally the love a mother has for her child. I mean, that's some pretty powerful stuff.
That is.
And it says an awful lot. It really does. Once again, fear is chaotic energy anyways. You just turn into a battery, and that's the whole point of keeping the fear on. But when you have that type of mother, that regardless of the terror she's facing, you have to come through me first. That shuts down a lot of things. It's just really interesting on the energy play. But before I hang up, because I gotta finish putting together my laser.
You're fine, man. You're fine.
But back to all the weirdness from the 411 and what takes place from the granite that on and back to Egypt. Back to granite, looking into what I was looking into when it comes to granite. Back to radiation. Granite itself will block even gamma radiation.
Yep.
You know,
powerful stone.
It really is. It's just, I think it's amazing, and it's just, I wish I had the money to have a bunch of stonemasons. Yeah. Oh, I'd have a bunch of stonemasons build me my own little cult made out of solid granite. Hopefully, it wouldn't fall in on me and become a tomb. But just to see, because it's just, when I started looking into it, making global comparisons throughout the centuries to all of this stuff, and all the even all the weirdo prophets in the Bible, a lot of them had the same things in common. I mean, they removed themselves from society, so they were probably intuitives from birth. What is it? Saint Benedict actually spent a good chunk of his life in a cave. You know, so once again, back to that shielding from specific types of radiation. I mean, it's all been a hell of a ride. It's all been quite fascinating.
It's funny. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't want to. No, I want you to finish because I might go off a little bit. So.
Okay. Well, it's just because then I start taking my mindset on the radiation and the things I start tracking down for all these other things, like from Skinwalker and the whole 411 thing, and trying to follow the magnetic fields and types of radiation, so on and so forth. It's opening up a different reality in my mind compared to the one we're living in right now, that what we know radiation to be, what those types of radiation to be. And the two are not comparable. You know, and when you go back into the Old Testament, covenant, I mean, that thing was made out of calcium, but it was gold leaf on the outside. You know, so then I'm thinking, then you start getting all the radiation crap confused, right? Because we use radiation in the medical industry, we use it in the computer industry, we use it in the space industry. They use gold they use gold dust on the visors of astronauts' helmets to protect their eyes from the ultraviolet light. You know, the infrared light out there.
You mean the fake astronauts?
Things, you know. You know. So, but the thing of it is,
the symbolism of it, though. Yeah.
You know, and then you get into this whole, what was it, the Anunnaki with the whole gold thing. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a rabbit trail that I'll be blunt as I usually am. You'll follow your head up your own ass if you're not careful.
Well, yeah, I think everything. I mean, I think they put out veiled truths in many things. You just have to be able to decode what's bullshit and what's not. You know, the Anunnaki story. I started to do some thinking on just the Sumerian tablets alone, and you know, I knew a while back that you know, the whole Sitchin thing was complete horseshit. Because I went and I went through a lot of those tablets. I don't remember what site it was. It was some site over in Europe where they had a translator. You can go through each tablet, you know, word for word, and it would translate the exact meaning. And you compare it to Sitchin, it's complete horseshit, what he says, who was a known Mason, you know, and there's actually video of him in a Mason lodge and him hiding himself and stuff like that. It's definitely him. But if you just think about the tablets alone, okay, all these ancient tablets, most of them are written, like we were talking about, on granite. They're really durable stone, okay? And even the ones that are ancient and of stone, even they, you know, are broken, this and that. And we're talking about these freaking Sumerian tablets, and they're made of clay.
Yeah.
Clay tablets. And they're like, oh, well, you know, you know, they were in a cave and they were in the desert, so they're preserved. I don't care what condition those damn tablets are in. I think there's over 5,000 of them. Okay? 5,000 tablets, and they're in near perfect condition. No. There's something wrong with that entire thing. I just, you know, and it took me a while to process that and see that. But, I mean, if you think about it, clay tablets, 5,000 plus tablets, and They're in near perfect condition, and you can go and read them for yourself. But that doesn't mean that just because, yes, they were controlled opposition tablets, but that doesn't mean they didn't contain truths in them. They're just veiled truths that you have to read in between the lines of. That's all. Just like everything else, it's no different.
Yeah, well, I've heard that about Sitchin's work before. I've never read anything in that.
Oh, yeah, no, Sitchin's definitely a shill. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah. And I really try to stay away from a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
For literally for what you just stated right now. Mm-hmm. And I really don't want it to taint anything that I'm going to see. I want to see it through my eyes.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it through somebody else's eyes. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. I have no problem coming together with people, having a powwow and exchanging ideas and experiences. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you my way is the way.
Yeah, we all have. We're all sharing, man. We're all sharing our collective knowledge. Yeah. Yeah. And I just wanted to add one thing. You mentioned the water and how you did it. It's so funny that you mentioned that you did it and it just came to you, because that's what happened to me. I was at the beach last week, and I'll bring my tube down and I'll go through. If it's low tide, I'll go way the hell out and just park my ass on the tube and just float on in with a beer. And I was like, holy shit, the water. I was like, I'm in the ocean. Let me just, and that's what I did. I did exactly what you and I were talking about. Yep. Yeah. And it just came to me. I didn't even think. I was like, oh, I'm at the freaking ocean. It's perfect. I got a shit ton of water here. And I was, saying, I'll let it stay, and it's forever. It's not going anywhere. Blah blah blah. Put a whole script out there.
We're both coming out of Irish ancestry, so you got to think about what the hell's locked inside those genetic codes coming off of that island. Mm-hmm. And it's like the island's probably got more holy wells than any other place on Earth, and it's just, and they're always named after a Christian saint, which always kills me. I was like, bitch, please, man. They think this thing was a holy well long before you came. But it's all back to the island, and it's just so many more things make sense that way. And even in those days, a clean water source was crucial. Mm-hmm. It truly was. It was absolutely crucial, because a lot of the islands were also swamps. It's like, where the hell do you think that the peat moss comes from for burning in the stoves? You don't get peat logs in a desert. It just doesn't happen. True. But I still go back to all of that, and I still think that the biggest key that could possibly help us on anything is going to be right back to the water.
Yeah. No, I really, when you said that to me that night we were talking on the phone, it's like such a basic idea, but a genius idea, bro. I mean, it's like, why the hell that? Why the hell not? We know Waterbury. We know water contains memory, and it's just, I really, really like that idea, and I just found it funny that, like, you experienced very similar to what I did. Like, you went out there and you're like, oh yeah, what about the water? Let me just do it. And that's exactly what happened to me when I was at the ocean. Same thing. It's awesome.
I mean, it's like with that whole life review thing, Just breathe for a minute. Just breathe. Because I'm looking at that, and it's like, if all information is literally at our access, and the only reason why we can't access it is because we don't believe we can, then there's no reason why we can't access this. I mean, even if it doesn't even come to actually viewing it, but it's like, what's the real purpose of this? Who's doing this? Why are they doing this? Why do they care? And if they care so much, how come this place is so screwed up?
Because it's everything's love and light, bro.
The big movie screen of life.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it be nice if life truly came with theme music? Because then if the girl was interested in you.
The build up.
You'd know to hit the brakes before you get in an auto accident, because the music just queued up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, like, I'll just I'll throw out the life review thing. I don't remember. I missed. I don't know when you came in, but I just happened to be talking about the life review thing. Maybe a few minutes before I saw someone mention that you came in. What do you think about what I was saying, and how, if we wouldn't need a life review if we were able to retain our memories. So I think us recapturing our true essence, we shouldn't need the life review, because those should come flooding back to us once we make our full escape. No?
Yeah. Think about this part, okay? Because I mean, I had no intentions on going through this after I died. Yeah, I mean, if you can drop out of high school, you can drop out of afterlife, right? So screw them. But here's the thing, though, because one, we do know this, technologically speaking, we do know that human DNA, all DNA, sends and receives, it transmits information multidimensionally. We know this for a fact. I mean, big tech companies are using the double helix now just for data storage, and God knows what else they've cooked up that we don't even know about. And then you have water. One of the most misunderstood things on our planet is water. And every time something new in science kind of harkens back to pre-Christian times about our understanding of water, they don't want anything to do with it. So the point being is this, okay? We're here in our bodies now. We're in these physical prisons now. I don't see any reason why we cannot access that information. I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, if you got any magic users out there, either playing cards or doing the real deal, you always want to bind down the action you don't want, It's like the old medieval magicians, the ceremonial magicians. They'd be out there conjuring demons left and right for all kinds of crap, but they would demand that they come to them in a non-terrifying form. So to me, there's no reason why we can't begin to learn how to access this all over again and do it in an orderly, non-confusing manner. And do it here while we're here. And at the end of the day, no one's really going to know if it's real or not, other than the person that's experiencing it, just like anything else in life, right?
Well, no, dude. I have to push back on that, because from everything I can tell, they make it seem as real as possible, but but the memory is fragmented. You're allowed certain memories and not allowed memories that may trigger your remembering process about who you truly are, what you are, what you've experienced, etc., etc.
Yeah, I agree with that, but there's also another aspect that most of us don't consider, and that's the aspect of we're part of this cosmos too.
Okay. But we're in their world, bro. You gotta. That's
into it.
We have, so I think that's why we would need to get out to fully gain our true essence, so to say. I mean, I hear you. I just, whatever you want to do is cool by me. Everyone has to do what they want to do. I just think, why even open the door? The way I see it is let's just say the creator, okay, whoever created us.
Don't you hate it? It's like you got to tiptoe around the world.
I know. It is what it is, right? Let's just call it what it is, or what it supposedly is. Okay.
That thing. That thing,
that thing. That thing where we popped out of. Okay.
Life was better when the mafia ran things. At least you knew where you stood, right?
Yes. And may your first child be a transgender child.
Be a good one. Be a hot one. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Look at it this way, though. if this corny idea of mine works out, there's going to be another lifetime where I'm going to be seeing a broken down old man at a high mountain lake with a teenage kid, and you're going to have a flashback of this dude in an inner tube with a beer in his hand. And you're like, what the hell?
Who the hell is that? Who the hell is that? Yeah. Hey, it's a good beer too. It's an India Pale Ale.
I'd be screaming, you ain't Irish at all, you bastard. There's no whiskey in that. You're not even a good drunk, you disgrace your ancestors.
Christ. So yeah, I just please, bro, don't go to the life. I mean, don't go to the life review, please. You'll get all the life reviews you want when you get out of here.
I've been a rebel since I was a little kid. I've gone back in my own personal childhood here. I was like, my God, I was a little dick even in elementary school. And because I remember there was this one teacher we had, and she was a bitch. I mean, this wasn't some little kid having an attitude. She was just, nobody liked her. And she just got into it with me one day, and I'd had enough. I stood up, walked out of the classroom. I went out the back door of the classroom. I wound up walking home, but she's coming after me, screaming, "Come back here, young man." And I turned around and I flipped her off. I was a god in elementary school for the next 5 days.
Yeah, nothing could touch you then, right?
A lot of it. Oh yeah. I'm surprised. I mean, I really didn't get in trouble for that because all the other little kids were like, no, she's mean. Yeah, but once again, I think it goes back to all of our childhood. When it goes back to, okay, he or she's an unruly person. Well, there's a reason for that.
Yep.
I hate to sound like, okay, yeah, he murdered 20 people, but there's a reason for it. No, he's a psycho. There are differences here. There are lines here, but I think that a lot of us, that if we got back into when we were little kids and what really interested us the most, and not if you're like a 4-year-old little girl saying, I'm a ballerina. I mean, who knows? Maybe you should go be one. I don't know. But, I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe if we start peeling this apart, I'll come back at you with what I've got, and then you can come up with the user's manual with all the cautions, the warnings, and absolutely do not. I'll let you write the manual. It'd be the freakiest thing anybody's ever come across.
That would be.
It'd probably make us rich.
Well, hopefully I'm not. I don't want riches. I just want out. I'm done. I'm on exactly. Yes, I'm handing it in. I'm retiring. Give me my exit interview. I'm out. Well, actually, no. Don't give me my exit interview. I don't even want it. Just send me my page. Send me my last check in the mail.
Yeah, because I ain't gonna be there to get it anyway.
That's right. Donate it to charity.
Oh my God.
Or like how the checks say, if it's not cashed within 90 days, return to sender. Or whatever.
Because I always want the precious money back. Every little red cent too. I always want it back. But no, it's just interesting that it's once that light switch goes off in your mind. This is gonna sound so left wing, pedo, and everything else, but and no people, I'm not a right winger either. I hate them both. But anyway. I would say almost not one person in this chat believes in politics in any way, shape, or form. So you're in good company. I mean, it's the most awesome way to get rich quick and stay that way.
It is.
But no, I mean, when you start literally looking at it and you start going back to all these little religious texts, like even in the Bible, when it says in there, we're interested in even the lowliest sparrow, right? I mean, there's something about God noticing a bird that falls from a tree dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at it from a standpoint of information gathering. Once again, back to consciousness, because we're so busy being conscious, we don't give animals or insects the credibility of being conscious.
Which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's things going on around us that we're completely oblivious about. But yet we're still conscious to a degree. So it's just when you start looking at it from all that standpoint, my psyche started going to the point of, okay, who the hell made all this stuff? And who deems this information that important? Because if that's the case, then at the rate we're destroying this world, something's going to have to be done quickly. Because whoever created this ant farm is not going to lose the entire ant farm because of one species.
No, well, it just seems so clear to me that if a society or region becomes enlightened, they knock it out of the water. They blow it out. They reset it, and then they reintroduce a certain narrative that goes with the show.
This might make you laugh. It might make you laugh. It may do both. But when I look at the entire northern hemisphere of the globe, because that's really all we're allowed to see on the news media, because once again we have those ghost continents like Africa, South America, that little protrusion in between North and South America called Central America. We're really not allowed to know about those things. But when it comes to the northern hemisphere across the world, and this is going to be laughable to so many, I see Russia as the up and coming, if they can survive what's being done to them right now. And you really have to get into the whole history of Russia within the last 100 years alone to understand possibly where I'm coming from with things. But when it comes to the United States itself, it's you can't hide the fact that we're not dying, we're dead. And the
by
reason
design.
why everybody else is really literally by design too. I think the reason why most people are starting to freak out now about it, saying, "Oh my God, the nation is dying," is like, no, that stinky smell is a dead body, and it's called America.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to so many things lately, there's only so much you can work with when it comes to rebuilding a nation, anyways. But if you have people that are dead set on rebuilding a country, they can get it. And the Russians have proved that in the last 20 years. You also have to keep ahead of the people that want to drag it back to the hellhole it was. Nearly 100 years of communism, life in Russia was a living hell. It truly was. And it's just, I just keep watching the rest of the quotes, American paradigm nations, going the same route, but I see Russia just getting stronger and stronger, and people make a lot of fun of Russia. It's like, no, you gotta take into more things into account other than economy. Because they also have a good, strong family unit, in particular.
Well, they're definitely better with family unit than by far than the United States, no doubt.
Yeah. They still have the same problems we do, the drugs, the alcoholism, all that,
the oligarchies too. The way I look at any country is they're all involved with the scam. They're all in bed together. So, the way I look at different countries is they have different, they're running almost different simulations in different areas.
Oh yeah.
Testing out, what works better than others, in an effort, but they're still, no matter what, combined and working in lockstep, unison together to achieve the same goals. So at the end of the day, it makes no difference how we perceive this country or that country because the controllers are still the same. The end result is still the same. It's just how it's, if you're living in one country versus another, you're going to be perceiving life one way versus another, based on that experience. That's my opinion on it, at least.
Well, no, you're right, because, it's just when you go back and you look at the controls in play across the world.
Let's look at what happened last year.
The method never changes. Yeah, the method never changes. The nation does. The generation changes. But that's the other thing about the United States. If you take a good look at it, it doesn't matter. If you were born in like 1920s or 30s and fought in World War II, those policies were already in play before you even went to war.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's totally planned out. Yeah. Let's be careful with this topic. I'll probably take one more call if anyone calls in and call it, and then gotta call it a night. It's almost 3 hours.
What time is it there?
Almost 10. About 20 minutes to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, the
no, I
sun's still
appreciate
up
you
there.
calling in, man. Yeah, it's great. Had
Yeah,
a
I'll
great
talk to you later.
conversation.
Yeah. Especially with the inner tube and the beer, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, brother. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right, that's Goober Bear / Desert Rat 45. Look him up. He posts a lot of great videos and a lot of good nature driving videos and chatting and fuming. Good stuff. Check him out. And Goober Bear Rat, if you're on there, you can just share your channel in the chat if you'd like. Okay, so if anyone wants to call, I could take one last call, and then can't go as long as I did with Rat, but because I'm leaving tomorrow morning for a mini vacation, but I probably will still. I'm probably going to stream at least one video on vacation. So, but we'll see. If anyone wants to call in last minute. Oh, wait a minute. It's oh, Blistering Hearts of Stupidity is 21 today. Happy birthday, sister. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday. I would play the if Night Sky ends up watching the replay. And my friends and family, what I do is I send the happy birthday to you, Ron, from Scientology video to everyone I know whenever it's their birthday, just to kind of troll them and give them a laugh. It's funny as hell. Highly suggest checking out that video if you want a good laugh. It's called Happy Birthday to You, Ron, and I think it's got an exclamation point. And put Scientology in there too, or take it out of there and you'll find it. It's a hilarious video. Okay, so yeah, I will stay on for another few more minutes. If anyone wants to call in, phone number's at the top left of the screen, 979-272-4111. That's 979-272-4111. And if you already have me on Skype, you can call me directly on Skype, and I can patch you in that way. And if I don't get a call within the next couple minutes, I'm probably going to just wrap it up. But in the meantime, I will head on over to the chat really briefly. Okay. BB, you're great. Thank you. Junko says, I hear what you say, FC. Imagination is one interesting tool thing. Yeah, it is. It's so powerful. Okay. Simon says, foot long. Who's got the foot long? Damn, Simon. It's a shaggin' wagon. It's so funny you're talking that. Okay, PK says, I miss my Siberian Huskies. They know I love them. That should be enough. But I got work to do because it would be hard to turn around. Yeah. I hear you, PK. See, like that's kind of like the multifaceted approach thing I was talking about earlier, how if it's not family, it's not partners, loved ones, it's not brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, grandma, grandpa, they go as low as using your pets against you. I mean, and think about it. What does a dog provide? Non-judgmental, non-stop love and loyalty. Something humanity does not provide most of the time. There are exceptions, of course, but let's just call it what it is. That's a dog will be loyal and loving the entire time it's with you. And that's just it's a really sick thing to think about, that they would take something like that and use it against you. And that the same thing goes, of course, for your partners, your family, all that stuff. It's they would have. Oh, did my stream knock down? What the hell? Oh, no, we're good. Okay. Looked like the stream went out for a minute, but we're okay. So as I was saying, it's really sick that they would use these things against us the way they do, in an effort just to get us back down here. Ugh. It's just sick. I mean, really, it's just even talking about it just bothers me. But it is what it is, right? The truth doesn't care about our feelings, right, brothers and sisters? Yeah. Articulated Random Intelligence says, PK, I know, I love animals so much, I'd go where they were, but not where humans were. Simon says, perhaps there's an elevator with another floor. I'll be looking for the complaints department. Yes, Simon. You know how many times I've said that? You and I are on the same page, brother. I said I would like to file a complaint. Many complaints. Oh, man. I feel like, yes, I'm with you, brother. BB says, heaven is a lab. Yeah. An experimentation lab of exploitation. You know what the lab's like? It's like what they do to, pigs and cats and dogs and all that stuff. They put the makeup companies put the toxic lipstick on them. That's us in heaven. That's what heaven is. We're the examples of they use the lipstick on us. Okay, SK says, like the 100 monkey effect, if a number of us know about the Matrix Soul Trap, everyone will be born knowing without intuition. PK says, imagination may not just be imagination. Yeah, I mean it's a whole. Yeah, no, the whole topic of imagination and being an artist and things like that, that's a whole deeper thing to reflect on. And there's no way to prove it here or there, but let's just it goes back to the topic of the night, which is the heaven and hell deception, that humanity has signed on to these concepts, and it's very clear looking at near-death experiences, even out-of-body experiences, and to some extent out-of-body experiences, and the pre-birth memories, things like that, Life Between Lives series that I did. All this stuff proves that there is a realm representing heaven and there is a realm representing hell. So, and that everything that we do and believe in, the belief systems that we are indoctrinated with or sign on to later on in life at some point, are reflected back at us through those things that I just mentioned. So why would imagination be any different? Right? It's just something to ponder. It would make sense if those things could be used against us as belief systems, then why the hell wouldn't imagination? Because there's multiple belief systems that are presenting themselves to those having the experiences we just mentioned. Okay, Simon says, we may well have to let go of any form-based reality, suggesting the tough-based realms might also be another fuckery. Yes, Simon, I absolutely agree with that. I think it's This is the way I look at it. I'm probably just gonna leave the night at Simon's comment because I think it's a good one to leave it on. So again, Simon says we may well have to let go of any form-based reality, suggesting the tough-based realms might also be another fuckery. So form-based imagery, manipulation, deception, illusionary realms, which is clearly the astral realm, okay? And here. Right there, that imagery, that illusion that comes at us opens us up to some form of manipulation, right? Now, I think the best thing we can do, and everyone has to make their own decision about how they're going to handle this when they leave. I think the best thing we can do is make sure, A, that we're out, completely, okay? B, that we don't allow, no matter what the hell is going on, we cannot allow illusions or any sort of imagery, distraction, anything that leads to a consent paradigm and us being taken for a ride, okay? Because that's when it seems, or that's what it blatantly seems, that we fell for, okay? I think most of us here, if not everybody, we are very curious beings. We like to explore. We like to probably traverse the universe and see what the hell is going on out there. And we bumped into this place, okay? That's the way I see it. Who knows? Could be something else. There's a lot of things to suggest that, again, that there was this light, this energy that is all-consuming and very attractive to us as soul/spirits, okay? And it's like hypnotic, and it's very alluring to us as beings. That's my interpretation of what I see, based on many things I've looked at. Can I say for certain that's the case? But no, but it makes sense, right? It would make sense that would be what happened and how we got into this mess. And then we fell, it got the urge and the luring got greater and greater and greater, and eventually it probably became too much where we ended up giving ourselves to it, knowingly or unknowingly, okay? But the point is the consent was given. The consent was exchanged for the experience, for furthering our curiosity, okay? That's what I think happened. Can I say for certain? No, but I'm pretty well in that corner and have been for a while. So when Simon says we may well have to let go of any form-based reality, suggesting the tough-based realms might also be another fuckery, I'm in agreement. I think the best thing we can do after everything we just talked about how we likely got here, is to just chill, okay? When we leave here as individuals, one by one, whenever our time is up, all we have to do is just get the fuck out and chill. Regain our faculties in a blind space where nothing is going to have the ability to interfere with us. Then, once we've become more accustomed to our true essence, our true self, then we can throw up the possibility of interacting with something. But I'm going to take it one step further, and I think this is really, really important to consider after we have rested and chilled and regained our faculties and felt comfortable again in our true essence. Then we have to always remember what happened here. Never forget what we gave in exchange for this experience, and how that lesson, this is the only lesson that has been learned here. There's no, we talk about, we laugh all the time, oh, Earth is cool, blah, blah, we mock it, and, we're sarcastic and all that shit. But there really is a lesson out of all of this, and it's a very powerful lesson that we should be able to take solace in and comfort in and grip as hard as possible. And that's that we are not going to ever allow ourselves to be caught in this type of bullshit again. Okay? If we're going to go and have an experience in another realm once we're out of here, and once we've been rested and reclaimed ourselves and things like that, then and only then, if we're going to go and explore and see what the hell is going on around the rest of the multiverse, then we better have God mode. We better have all of our abilities and not relinquish one bit of consent. Not one. Nothing. So if I want to go and experience another realm, if you want to go and experience another realm, the only deal involved, the only requirement in it, to have that experience would be to obviously have God mode. Like the equivalent of God mode in a video game, where you can come and go as you want. You can do whatever the hell you want. You don't have to give anything in exchange for the experience. You have your full faculties intact at all times. You may be able to go and experience something weird, cool, freaky, different, but you have to be able to take God mode, and everything about you that the Creator gave us, which is consent and sovereignty, you have to be able to take that with you. Because without that, I see nothing but a recipe for disaster. Because we're going to run into realms like Simon had suggested, a bunch of tough-based realms that might also be based in fuckery. All right, so I want to end it with that. I think that's a good spot to end it in, because it really there is a really important aspect to everything that's gone on here, and everything that we've learned and grown from, and that's really important. I mean, because I've had people tell me, oh, this stuff is negative, it's this, it's that, I don't want to hear that anymore. I don't. Because what I'm trying to do is explain the truth about it, what I see, what I've learned, and convey it to as many people as possible, those who are willing to listen. But there is a very good part of this that we all have to take away from. And that's what I just said. It's that, if we're going to go and have this experience, some other experience in other realms inside the multiverse, then we're not going to give our sovereignty away. We're not going to give our consent to anything if it requires giving even the smallest piece of ourselves. And that's a very valuable lesson. And I hope a lot of you can see that. And I'm going to just probably leave it at that. So I appreciate everyone hanging on for this stream. It went longer than I expected again. And I will probably see you later in the week. Maybe in a few days, not really sure. Yeah, I thank you all for listening and watching. And please stay tuned for the announcement with Night Sky and I to welcome anyone who's interested to the Astral projection and lucid dreaming group that we are setting up on Discord. It's going to be open invites initially, and then it'll end up being privated. It's a group where it's going to be strictly based, and not strictly, but as concentrated as possible on astral projection and lucid dreaming, and us getting together at least once a week as a community, as a group, and sharing resources and stories of success, stories of failure, techniques, etc. And I think it's really important that even if you're not ready right now, it's something to think about down the road, that you should consider joining us. Because I think with a group intention put on this, and of course we're coming at this in individuals, but we're coming at this with a perspective of, again, sovereignty and liberation from here. We want to explore the astral realms in an effort to make ourselves more aware and have a lucid death when our time comes. Get what I'm saying? Alright. So again, much love and blessings to you all. I hope you have a good rest of your evening, day, morning, afternoon, whatever the heck it is where you are. And stay tuned again for the Astral Projection Club, the Astral Projection and Lucid Dreaming Club. And I will see you all again soon. I am going to leave the type chat open for an extra 5 minutes, so I'm going to throw up the stream ended screen so we can maybe have a couple last minute chats in the text chat there. So if you want to hang out for a few minutes in there, that's cool. And then after the countdown or 5 minutes ends, then I'm going to end the stream. Alright, so I will see a couple of you in the text chat, and thank you again for joining me. And please like, share, subscribe if you found some value in this material. And I will see you again very soon. Much love.